Take one.
Hi, I'm Noah Preminger, and this is Jazz Language, a podcast that gives an inside look into the music industry.
Let's cut.
I'm so excited to have my friend Caleb Curtis here, amazing saxophonist. Welcome, man. Thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me.
So I have a lot to talk to you about.
Great.
One important thing is your new record, Ritual, on Chill Tone Records, which comes out in April.
April
with an amazing band, amazing original compositions. And this is, what number record is that for you?
I think 5. Yeah,
5,
4
right?
or 5. Last one was a double, so
Okay,
depends on whether you count it as 1 or 2.
Okay, it does. That's 2.
Yeah, 6 then. Yeah,
6,
yeah, maybe.
10.
Yeah, 10.
Awesome. So beautiful record, and obviously we'll talk about that and hype it up. Let's kind of go back to early Caleb for a second, just to give our listeners Caleb Youngin insight. So one thing that I love about your playing is you come from the tradition, and those are my favorite improvisers, the ones that have like a strong sense of tradition and have really spent countless, they're 10,000 hours working on that. And then also focus obviously on their craft, on their instrument and pushing the music forward. So take us back to like young Michigander Caleb.
How young do you want to go? Yeah.
Well, like just when you picked up the horn.
Yeah.
You started on saxophone?
I started on saxophone, yeah. I started in public school band in 5th grade. And my grandfather gave me his horn because he wasn't playing anymore. But I just wanted to play because I liked jazz already.
Was he a pro or
No, he was a
hobbyist?
Hobbyist who he grew up in Brooklyn. He played in some swing bands,
Cool.
But he loved jazz, and I listened to jazz with my dad, and he sent me some CDRs and stuff.
Nice.
My grandfather. So yeah, that was in 5th grade. But I just followed my joy for playing music. But I didn't get that serious about it until later.
Okay.
Yeah.
What about, so you're one of these players that like really focuses on the technical part of the instrument, which is really awesome and brings out other components in your improvisation as well, which is really fun to, as a listener, as a fan of yours to listen to. At what point did you get into like the saxophone?
I think for me, the technical part of the instrument that I'm into exploring is the sonic part,
right?
And not so much the fingers.
Sure.
Right. I think a lot of people consider the technical part to be the fingers and the efficiency, and I'm into that. But most of my work is about getting the sound of the instrument to be wide and varied, and I think it starts before I realized, because always my favorite players were the ones that are incredibly vocal. And
like
when
who?
My first favorite players are Rahsaan, Maceo, and Lou Donaldson and Cadwell.
Like these are your high school?
These are like middle school, high school. Yeah.
Okay, these are your heroes.
These are the guys. And later I realized how big of an influence that had when I went back and listened to like Maceo, Parker, Mo Roots, and I was like, oh wow, this is really a part of me, because I listened to that record so much before I was really studying hard. Before I realized I could try to play like the people.
Well, our generation, we're the 40-ish generation.
Yeah.
Like we grew up not with what kids have today. So, so somebody had to have shown you that stuff.
Yeah,
Hard to discover it on your own.
I think some of it I discovered on the shelf at the record store. I remember looking at a Schofield record called "Works for Me," and it had Kenny Garrett on it, and I thought,
like, yes.
Kenny G, I don't want to hear that, But so there was some time just like browsing the stacks and picking records up. I think my dad got me a Rahsaan Jazz Masters collection from Verve, and we used to listen to Bright Moments, and I remember him playing me Kind of Blue and maybe Minka Saam and that kind of stuff. And he would buy me records. He bought me this Arthur Blythe record called Spirits in the Field, live at the old BIM house. And I put it in my CD alarm clock, and I woke up to that every morning, and I couldn't figure out if I liked it or hated it until 20 years later. I was like, wow, that's really my shit.
Nice.
Yeah, that's really it. And then when I went to college, my teacher had me transcribing Johnny Hodges solos. And I didn't know anything about Johnny Hodges, but I learned like 50 solos in a year I say learned, but I learned how to play them. I played them along with the record. And Hodges has to be the most vocal of the alto players. And my grandfather just passed away that summer before college, and I had these CDs from him of Hodges and Ellington that he had sent me. So I spent a lot of that time thinking about him and connecting with that idea. But then my other favorites became Ornette Coleman and Eric Dolphy, and people that are very kind of affected in their delivery. Ben Webster, I think Ben Webster was the first saxophone player I could identify on a recording by his sound. It's so distinctive.
Who made a huge impression on you growing up that was like on the scene at that time?
In Michigan?
Either in Michigan or just internationally. Like what players were you? Because you're listing people that were primarily dead by that point.
Yeah.
So like, was there anybody that was touring that you were like, oh, they're coming to Michigan, I got to see them live?
Well, there was a jazz club in Ann Arbor called the Bird of Paradise and another one called Firefly Club. And they were both, at one point, both active like 6 or 7 days a week, jazz clubs around the corner from each other. But I remember seeing David Fathead Newman there like 5 times, or he came every year.
Right.
Played with the local rhythm section. I saw Benny Golson. I saw Ornette Coleman at the concert hall, So there was like,
amazing.
When these people came through, it was an opportunity to see them. I saw Wayne Shorter and Herbie duo, but it was because they were coming through, not because I knew necessarily the weight of it,
right.
And certainly, any younger players I knew were our peers who were getting national recognition for competitions and placement in these like high school super bands.
Ugh,
and the things that I could never I never qualified for.
Me neither. Yeah, I got you.
And that have turned out to be people I've known for a long time.
Side note.
Yeah.
Matt Morantz,
the king of that. Yeah.
Well, we're all the same age, basically.
Yeah.
I remember in high school, like I always tried out for these things and I never got them.
Mm-hmm.
And the one person who was winning like all that stuff, Downbeat Awards, Grammy band thing, Matt Morantz.
Yeah, every single one.
Like
and he was incredible.
I'm like, this friggin' kid from Texas. Who is this guy?
Yeah.
And
still is incredible.
But
he played alto when he was in high school.
Right.
And I heard some recording and I was like, what is this? Like I couldn't
nasty.
even put together anything. I had no idea how to play. I was really enthusiastic. And I love jazz. And maybe that's, that worked for me.
Right.
But I didn't understand how much I was going to have to practice.
Yeah.
And I don't want to lose sight of the question you had about when did I start getting into the saxophone, like practicing the saxophone. That real, like, clear exploration of, like, okay, I'm into the sound and I want to learn how to develop the sound. When I was finishing grad school at William Patterson in 2011, I had one lesson with Dr. David Dempsey, who was the administrative director of the program there. He just retired last year. And he was a student of Joe Allard's at Juilliard. And Dr. Dempsey showed me overtones and some fundamental exercises to work on resonance. And then I practiced that stuff for 20 years.
Right.
Not quite, but
15
years.
You don't just get bored out of your mind practicing that stuff.
I just see it as just like a never-ending process. It's just something to check in on and to work on and to think about and to be like, is this working, just to keep evaluating. There's not really, I do less of it than I used to.
Yeah.
But when I'm feeling weird, that's where I go. And
I admire people like you, man. True students, like lifetime students.
Mm-hmm.
Those are the people who push the music forward.
It's one of the only things that's worked for me. It's just keep thinking like, okay, just stay on the path. There's no rush. I want to do the work, but there's not a rush because it just needs to get a little better. And I really feel like I showed up late to the game in terms of feeling like I could play and understanding what it was that I'm doing, what I'm trying to do, and seeing all of these people around me that figured it out when they were teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
At least like how to really put all the mechanics together, how to play the changes, how to play in time, how to understand the game, And I didn't start to have a sense of that until I was like 10 years ago, until I was 30.
Do you ever take a break? Like, do you ever leave the instrument in the, at home and not go near it for a day, a week, a month?
I didn't practice for 6 or 8 months during COVID. There was a point where, I mean, I think one of the main things for me is that it's really important that the process be enjoyable or meditative, but and not negative.
And that's what I tell all my students. Yeah. It's like this needs to be fun for you too. There are tedious components to practicing and working on your craft, but overall it needs to be really enjoyable.
Yeah, because that's the only way to continue. And I've never, maybe it's because of how I was raised and how I grew up, I've never gotten anywhere from like negative self-talk, or really negative feedback even. I like a critical feedback.
Right.
But like a real negative feeling of like, I suck and I can't do this.
Do you listen to recordings of yourself from gigs?
Yes. Yeah.
And what kind of ear do you use when you're listening back to recordings or sessions that you play?
It's been a long time since those things really made me cringe.
Wow, that's great.
I think that I just wore out the cringe. It just was like it didn't become useful anymore.
So when you listen, what's going through your head?
I'm listening for whether, to me, it sounds like I'm focused or not. What doesn't work? I think a lot of what works or doesn't work in the music has to do with whether you accept it in the moment that it happens. And if you play something and you accept it and you take it in and you say, okay, this is how the music is, then it works. The music accepts it, the listener accepts it, the band accepts it. Mm-hmm. When you play something and you don't accept it and you're judging it against a reality that doesn't exist and never existed, then the music knows, and so does everybody else, either emotionally or otherwise. And so I'm listening for the technical part about whether I'm playing in time or, the mechanics of the music. But I think more I'm listening for the focus.
Well, you play with a crap load of conviction when you play. Another thing I love about your playing, it's a cliche, but there's no wasted notes, it feels like. You know what I mean? There's a lot.
There's a lot of notes, yeah. Sometimes there's a lot of notes, yeah.
But, all good, But when you play, like, it feels like you are meaning what you're playing, and that comes across to the listener as very powerful. I feel like all of the greatest improvisers have that quality. It's like a throw down, play like it's your last, time playing ever. And there's an energy that comes across to the listener that's powerful. I don't know if there's other horn players that you listen to. I mean, probably all of them that you love.
The ones I mentioned already. But I mean, especially Dolphy and Ornette are like that. And Gary Bartz was a very important person I listened to a lot. I saw him last night. I saw him play last night at LPR. But his music is, super straightforward in the phrases. He just like plays these real definitive statements and then builds on them. And I used to think a lot of people talk about as a musician you have to have good ears, and for a long time I thought that meant I have to use my harmonic ears to know every note that everybody in the band is playing at all times, because there are people that can do that.
Right.
And they know every note in the chord that the pianist is playing and what note the bass player is playing and how their note fits in harmonically. Or they can hear all the changes of the tune before they play or whatever. And what I've taken it to mean more recently in the past few years is that to have good ears means to listen to the way the music is and to hear not only what they're playing, but also what I play. Because you're trying to hear something to play before you play it. But then after you play it, after I play something, I want to hear what it was and then use that to make more music.
Right.
And I think that it's like that's when I do that, then I feel like the phrases go from one to another and the music continues and it has momentum. And it's also part of acceptance, this thing I'm saying.
Right.
And it's not possible for the music to fail if you operate from that perspective, I think.
Man, you're like the jazz Buddha or some shit. Wow, you got to figure it out.
But but a lot of it is I want to make environments where it's not possible for it to fail.
Right.
I don't want the music to be so fragile or so brittle that if you make a wrong turn somewhere, the band falls apart and the music sucks.
Right.
None of the music I love is really like that. That's one of the great things about jazz is all of its like stretchiness.
Right. Okay, let's talk about stretchiness and bands and community, and get into your record before it's too late here, because I want to talk about your great record. So, brand new record on Chill Tone Records, comes out April 10th, 2026.
Yeah.
And how did you meet the people in the band? When did you start playing? I know you had spoken about, or we talked about the fact that these people have never played together in this, arrangement. So how'd you put it together? What's your connection with everybody?
Sure. I mean, whenever we make any of us make records, right? I think we want to make a record that nobody else can make.
Totally.
And that's inherently true because we just are individual people. But when I got the first rehearsal together with these cats, I looked around and I was like, yeah, nobody else would or could call this band.
Right.
And so we can start maybe with Orrin Evans, who's playing piano on some of the songs.
He's somebody you work with,
Yeah, I've been working with Orrin more than 10 years. It started playing with Captain Black Big Band, which is his long-running big band which is now smaller, 6 horns and rhythm
That's
section.
a band that he composes for?
Yeah, he writes music or gets cats in the band to write arrangements it's a very community-oriented, loose aggregation of people.
That's a New York base? He's Philly, right?
He's in Philly. When the band plays in Philly, sometimes it's more of a Philly band. When the band plays in New York, it's more New York. When we play out of town, it's, so there's a core village of people that are probably twice as many that are on any given gig.
Cool.
And it was through Orrin. And Orrin really welcomed me into that circle. I think because I showed up and I wanted to be there and I didn't ask for a lot of attention.
And you got a bad self. You're great.
But sometimes I would watch people show up to that gig and really try to take solos and try to assert their position. They'd be like subbing on the band,
right? And
try to be in the band and like really work too hard, And it would never made everybody else comfortable because you could feel this thing. And it's through Orrin that I became really sensitive to this group dynamic. And from Orrin, I met Vicente Archer. And we met on a gig at Birdland, I think, and became the bass player, and he's playing bass on this record. And this is our first time. We played a few gigs together, but this is our first time in the studio together. He has these high-level gigs with Nicholas Payton and John Schofield, and he played with Robert Glasper a lot, and all of these people, major figures in our community. And because of that, maybe the professional level he operates at, he's not so visible in the local scene in Brooklyn, right, where I live. But that doesn't mean he's not available when he's available or not down to play. And so, Orrin and Vicente come to me from one side of my life. And then I met Eddie Paz, who's playing tenor, saxophone, and flute, like at a session at an apartment, a rehearsal many years ago. And slowly our friendship has built. And but we share a real connection over improvising and sound and, love for music. And so we've been playing together off and on in different places. But I don't think Eddie and Vicente are aware of each other, or maybe he knows Vicente and Orrin, but Vicente and Orrin don't know Eddie.
Right.
And Michael Serene, who's playing drums, I met hanging out at Barbez, but I knew about him because he was the drummer with this great saxophonist Thomas Chapin, who I never got to meet, but is a very important figure in the '90s downtown scene.
Right.
And Michael was part of his trio, which was relatively popular. It has a lot of fans to this day, I think, in the Northeast.
Yeah,
he was
Mario
an important,
Pavone.
Yeah, Mario Pavone and Thomas and Michael. That was an important band.
Mm-hmm.
And Michael loves all the same stuff that Orrin and Vicente love. And there's all this shared musical like language and love for groove and swing and story and and for jazz. And as I became closer friends with Michael, and he plays in my trio with Sean Conley, then the bassist, then I could see that all of this stuff is all shared.
Right.
And I just want to bring these people together, and be like, come on, let's do this together. This doesn't make any sense that the communities are separated. And I think that the communities are separated by the types of clubs they play at. There's a racial segregation happening that has been going on for all of the history of jazz. Right. Not a hard line, but it's part of the story of the music and of the groups. And that is like softly enforced by the boundaries of the communities and the clubs. And, you know, I don't say enforced, but, you know, it's a reality. And so I love being able to bring them together. And then the young guitarist Emmanuel Michael, who I just met recently, but I've been getting into guitar.
You playing?
No, I'm not playing guitar, but I'm into guitarists
gotcha.
In a way that I have never been into Schofield and Frizzell, but I'm starting to unlock the interest in my ear, you know? And I never recorded with a guitar player before, and Emmanuel was a fantastic player, and I thought would really bring like a sense of excitement and space into the music, and also is younger than me, and I have to make my peace with the fact that I'm 40 years old.
Brutal.
You know?
It's friggin' brutal, dude.
And I realized at some point that when I started playing with Oren, he was 40. And I looked to him as like a mentor figure, and I was like, oh, I'm playing with some older cats. And because I'm always trying to be the youngest cat in the band. I always, like, traditionally in my life, you know?
Right.
Because I want to learn from the people I'm around, and it's an opportunity for me to to
play with history.
Yeah, and to play with, you know, heavy people.
Right.
And as they keep agreeing to do it, I'm going to keep saying, yeah, sure.
Mm-hmm.
And
so you get some love to a younger player.
Yeah, I mean, he doesn't play like a younger player, but it's also for me to just say, like, I want to be involved, you know, with all the players that I think are interesting. You know,
cool.
And if I want to complain about how younger people are playing, then I should also maybe communicate with them.
Right.
Know? Or like if there are things I want to see more on the scene, maybe I should go out and play with those people.
Man, that's a big part of it is the nurturing.
Yeah.
You know, I play every weekend at Wally's in Boston, and this is my over 10 years of doing it. And Wally's is all about, I mean, it's a college town, Boston, and so we play with a lot of younger people at Wally's, and it's about nurturing, coaching, bringing up the younger talent players. I hate that word, talent.
Yeah. Talent's a tough word.
It's a tough word.
Yeah.
Just the bad dudes coming up through college and who live in town, and teaching them, you know, our 2 cents. And that's really valuable.
It's hard to believe that I have something to say to them, you know, until I'm saying it and I'm going, oh no, I hope that this is taken in the spirit it is meant, you know,
right?
Because
you got to be careful these days.
Yeah, well, you just have to. I think it's important to not condescend to people that, you know, that can really play, or to not condescend at all. You know,
do you teach?
I love teaching. I don't have a job.
Right.
But, you know, as people come to me for one-off lessons, or I was subbing a little bit in Indiana University last fall.
Cool.
But I really, you know, it's easier to do in that environment when the premise is that you're going to teach something.
Right.
You know, it's harder to, like, understand when you hire someone to be in your band that there's an element of that in it. But I guess anybody that's playing your music, if they're not doing something that you want to hear, you have to tell them. Or you have to hire someone else.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that will do it without being asked. I think the hard part about that is knowing that there's something that you want. So if it's like, to know what that is, someone who plays a different instrument, to have to say like, well, I'm really looking for something, and I have an actual idea. I'm not just going to say a bunch of stuff so that I'm the leader. You know? In terms of the record, in that, and I know you got some other stuff.
I so do.
But the important thing for me for this album was that for every piece, I had an idea about how I really had a clear idea of what I wanted from it, or what could happen. But then when we're in the studio, if something else happens, it's fine. The important thing is that I have something in case we have nowhere to go, or that you know, I can't just lay a chart in front of them and say, "Come on, help me."
Right.
You know, it's my job to be like, "This is what I'm imagining," and we do something else cool. You know, I don't need to hold on that tight.
So you're a moderate planner,
This one, I mean, we just had a couple of rehearsals.
Right.
And it's too many people.
You rehearsed?
So, yeah, we had rehearsals, which is unusual for a record of mine. I mean, I've done a lot of records with no rehearsal.
I'm not into rehearsing.
Yeah. But because the music is all new for this recording,
right?
And there's 6 people involved,
who maybe don't have a
it's got the rehearsal is not. It's as much playing the music as it is spending time together,
right?
So that everybody can show up to the session and feel relaxed.
Totally.
There's
a lot said.
That's
for that.
That's what I'm preparing for. Is how can I make the recording session an enjoyable experience for everybody,
right?
So that they show up and they can play their best, and I can relax.
Totally.
And I can overthink that like crazy. But then when we get there, I'm not wasting time and energy worrying about everybody because I've made sure that everything's going to be cool.
I'd like to take a break from talking about this for a second.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, please.
And enter a segment here. The rapid fire segment.
Okay.
I'm so excited for this, man.
Okay, good.
Okay, so we're going to start off easy.
Okay.
Well, maybe easy. With just some sort of B flat questions. Or E flat questions.
Yeah, that's the key. I understand. Yeah.
Steak or pizza?
Pizza. But I don't eat steak or pizza.
For real?
Yeah, I'm vegan. I've been vegan since more than 10 years, and I grew up in a vegetarian family.
We'll cut that out.
Yeah.
We don't need to. Paris or Barcelona?
Barcelona.
Easy, right?
Yeah.
Easy. Kahn or Selmer?
Selmer.
Okay.
But I play Buschers.
Oh, you do?
Yeah. The stretch that I play is a Buescher.
That's a Buescher? Okay.
Yeah. And the soprano also.
Those are saxophone brands.
Yeah.
Okay, red wine or whiskey?
Whiskey, but I don't drink.
Do you have vices?
Caffeine.
Caffeine.
Yeah.
Any other vices we need to know about?
No.
Nothing that you'll admit?
No.
Okay. Would you rather visit the past or the future?
The past.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Why?
Because I think 1970s New York would be really fun.
No doubt. Would you rather fly first class for life? Think of that saxophone you need to bring on that horn on that plane. First class on airplanes for life, or eat at a Michelin star restaurant whenever you want.
First class.
100%. Right there with you.
That's fine. Just can I get my horn on the plane? That's truly the only thing I care about.
Man, us horn players.
The horn can fly first class, and I consider the last row.
I'm with you.
Yeah.
Would you rather step in dog crap on your way to a gig and have it on your shoe during the gig so it smells, or get a parking ticket after the gig?
Parking ticket.
Yeah.
That's just money.
Yeah, you don't want to smell. All right. Would you rather crap your pants on an airplane?
Yeah.
Or miss your connection and therefore the first gig of your tour?
I'd rather crap my pants.
For real?
Yeah. I don't know. Yeah, I think so.
That's rough.
Missing a gig of your own tour is rough.
Right.
Especially considering how few tours I get to do like that.
Michael Brecker or Chris Potter?
Brecker.
Peggy Lee or Gene Lee? You know Gene Lee?
No.
You know Peggy Lee?
Kind of.
Peggy Lee, amazing singer. Gene Lee, amazing singer. Peggy Lee had a record, I think it's from 1961, called The Newest Sound Around. It's a duo record with Ram Blake. You know It's just one of the greatest records ever. I'll send it to you. Roy Haynes or Elvin Jones? Who? Roy.
Roy, that's what I said. I said Roy.
Okay.
I mumbled Roy under my breath. I think it's just because I got to see him a lot. And seeing him was the best.
You've heard that bootleg, somebody recorded like a loft session of Roy with Train and another tenor player?
Oh, no, but I know that gig at the Showboat.
This is a session that they played.
Yeah, I don't know that. Yeah. But I saw Roy's, I think it was his 80th birthday at Blue Note with Ron Carter and Jaleel and Chick Corea.
Ridiculous?
Unbelievably ridiculous. It was like time travel. That was going back in time.
Right.
Playing Bud Powell tunes and Monk tunes. And
amazing.
That was like one of the great experiences of my life.
Amazing he could play at 80.
Yeah, he played for a bunch of years after that.
Yeah, I know.
Hey, Gary Bartz is 85, and he played a 90-minute set last night, standing.
Jesus.
Yeah.
I barely touched my knees. John O'Gallagher or Emmanuel Wilkins?
Well, John O'Gallagher. Sorry, Emmanuel.
Kurt or Brad?
Brad.
Kamasi Washington or Grace Kelly?
What are these questions? You're going to put all these questions in there. Kamasi.
Okay, here's some open-enders,
Uh-huh.
but keep it brief.
Yeah.
What does science fiction sessions mean to you?
The Ornette Coleman record. That's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah. This to me is one of the most important records in my life. I remember when I heard it, I went to meet up with some friends, and I played it for them, and they didn't get it. And I thought, maybe these aren't really my friends. If they don't get this, then I don't know, like, what if we can play in a band together.
It's that important. Flying with an instrument is.
Flying with the instrument is the stressful part of flying.
Right.
Yes.
Politics makes you feel.
Despondent.
Your top three.
Well, I have one more thought. I have an actual thought about that. I learned as a kid that the important thing is to know what's going on in the world. This makes you a good citizen, and to protest when you don't like what. This is your civic duty, is to go out in the street and protest. And it hasn't been clear to me over the past 20 years of my life that knowing or protesting accomplishes anything. I'm not talking about not knowing anything, but if there's a difference between completely checking out versus reading all of the news stories every day and knowing the minutia about the things that are going to make you feel horrible. It's different than knowing that there's like a fascist government in charge of our country and terrorizing the people.
Right.
That's just a basic fact. That doesn't mean you don't have to know I have decided I don't have to know every single detail of every single time one of those things occurs, as long as I am getting it.
Stay educated.
Yes.
Top three cuisines.
I'll just go Mexican, Indian, and Thai.
Yeah. Your dream gig is?
If I could put together like the ultimate band, I wish I could have played with Roy Haynes.
Okay, Roy.
Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah.
Front line of Konitz, Mulligan, and Chet Baker.
When I think about Jerry Mulligan in particular, and you see all those photos of him with like Ben Webster and the heavy cast, I'm like, this guy showed up to a place where he was a real outsider and was like, this is my shit. This is where I'm going to go. And then he showed up and they were like, yeah, come on. And then he played his ass off. And so did those other guys. But I love seeing just Jerry Mulligan photos of him like
hanging.
Yeah.
Right.
Not that the other guys didn't, but that's what comes to mind.
Okay. Last question. One thing you could change in the world.
I'd eliminate the internet.
Wow.
It's not helping.
Don't you build websites?
I did for a long time. That might be why I'm so jaded about it.
Could be.
I just think, of course there are good things, but mostly it's just kept us apart.
Not us.
No, but people.
Right.
Even like last night when I went to LPR to see Gary Bartz, I was like, man, I go to bars and small clubs, but that place is kind of big for a jazz gig in New York. But I wondered, like, man, you're just here, like, listening to this band play. This seems antiquated in a way. And because the gig starts at a certain time, it's a concert that lasts for however long it lasts. You don't walk in and then leave if you want to, like you could. It's just not the same as walking into a bar and then walking out when it's time, when you're done.
Right.
And it's really like a moment for a bunch of people to just be there, like, listening. And like standing there and like digging the band. And that is like a frozen moment in time. And that, I don't know, it seemed like a old school.
Yeah.
Just super not online kind of event.
Yeah, religious experience.
Just a normal being with people where there's a band grooving and playing good, and the gig doesn't exist to create content for Instagram.
Right.
The gig exists to make music.
Right.
It's like making music to make music, not content.
Right. As we're making content.
Yeah.
I got you.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thank you so much for doing this. We covered a fraction.
Yeah, we didn't even really get to it.
We didn't even get to it.
Yeah.
But we'll do this again.
Yeah.
All right. Thanks, Caleb.
All right. Thank you.
All right.